Tell me a little bit about Clover Adams.
You've got to remember, she is part of the Washington elite. Her family had a great deal of influence and some means. She was somebody who was part of an intellectual conversation that really captivated Henry Adams. She was also a photographer.
How did she commit suicide?
She drank a form of cyanide that was used in the chemical processing of photography. So it was something that she was familiar with, that she had used a lot in her career, in her own photography. And the story is that he is leaving to go to a meeting when somebody knocks on the door who said they wanted to see Clover, a woman. And he then went upstairs to get her, and he found her lying on the floor. He brought her down to the couch, called doctors, but she was gone.
There are some people who believe that that is not Clover Adams. It's a symbol of all people. In fact, you can't even tell if it's a man or a woman. Can you choose to say, I believe it is Clover Adams?
I can. I'm the secretary. For me, it really is about Clover Adams. I understand about this whole notion of, that amazing moment between grief and sorrow. But for me, this is about the sense of loss that one person felt, and his way to try to remember, to deal with that loss, to deal with it in a way that also allowed him to put aside some of his own feelings of any maybe guilt. Did he have the strongest relationship with his wife? She committed suicide. How do you handle that? So I think while they try to remove the personal, I see it as intensely personal.
Who was the sculptor, and how did the sculptor know Henry Adams?
Augustus Saint-Gaudens, who was really the most preeminent sculptor of the late 19th century. And you've got to remember, Henry Adams is the great-grandson and grandson of presidents. So he's American royalty. He's also part of an elite group of people that taught at Harvard, where he first began to get to know this sculptor. And as the sculptor became a friend of his, to help him, remember his wife, they had talks about Buddhism and a variety of things, and all of that is reflected in there.
Generally, in a museum of this quality, most of the art is original. This is a replica. Why did the Smithsonian want a replica?
Well, I think that one, it's because the original they would never get. Nobody's going to take it out of the cemetery. But two, this artist is so important, has done such great work. So for me, it may be a replica, but it's one of the most powerful replicas I've ever seen.
I'm told that you can tell on the original that people touch it. What kind of reaction have you seen people have?
Occasionally when people ask me what's my tour of Washington, I take them there. And so I've taken a lot of people, and first of all, there's a sense of both reverence that comes from being in a cemetery, but also because this is such a large figure, you really I feel her presence.
This is made of bronze.
So you can see when people
touch,
they leave their prints behind. In some ways, what it means to me is that when I see that, it means this is a living statue. That it's not just about something that happened over 100 and some years ago, but that people find relevance and important, and they want to touch it.